I don't know about you, but I am freaking loving the fact that these MAGA morons can't figure it out. When Trump met with Mamdani at the White House, they were expecting Mamdani to get the Zelensky treatment. They were expecting him to get ambushed, to be talked down to just be treated like shit by Trump. And of course, that's not what happened. Trump was kissing his ass. He was acting like they were best friends. And these MAGA morons can't figure out what's going on. It's obvious to anyone with a brain what's going on. Donald Trump is horribly unpopular. I mean, every poll, or nearly every poll that has come out recently, except Fox, has him in the 30s. There was a poll that just came out yesterday. He's at 35%. His approval, disapproval with independents is minus 43. That is disaster for Republicans going into the midterms. And Trump is terrified of his cult losing control of Congress. So what does he do? He looks at Mamdani, who's popular, and he thinks, hey, if I'm nice to him, if people see that I'm cool and Mamdani likes me and I'm a good guy, then maybe people will start to hate me just a little bit less. It's pathetic. It's desperation. Yet what do these MAGAs do? They're thinking that this is some brilliant game of 4D chess. That's what they do every time they can't figure out why is he doing that? They can't see what's right in front of their face, so they got to come up with other excuses. So it's either some sort of brilliant strategy of 4D chess that people just don't understand, or, I hear this one a lot, whenever he sucks up to somebody who is supposed to be their enemy, he says, oh, well, this is the Godfather. You keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. That's what it is. No, morons. He's a desperate buffoon, desperately trying to be liked.
Donald Trump just dealt Republicans a huge blow for the 2026 midterms, and I think he did it on purpose. Now, as you know, yesterday, Donald Trump met with Zoran Mamdani. And after the meeting, he was very complimentary, said great things about him, said great things about his policies, and worse for Republicans, said that he would be okay living in a city that Mamdani was mayor of. Well, this is a huge blow to Republicans because they have built their entire campaign for the midterms around Mamdani being bad and being the leader of the Democratic Party. But my thought is Donald Trump knows this, and he did this on purpose because he told Republicans, we are not releasing these files. We need to move on from the files. And every Republican voted for their release. And this is Donald Trump's way of saying, we'll see who's really in charge here. We'll see who has the last laugh. I believe that Donald Trump knew that if he praised Mamdani, he would deal a blow to every single Republican in both the House and the Senate. One thing Donald Trump is for sure a vengeful man, and I think he's gotten his revenge.
So the MAGA universe is absolutely split apart ever since the president, Donald Trump, invited Zoran Mamdani to the White House. The Republican Party had decided that they were going to use Mamdani as the new face of the Democratic Party, and that they were going to paint him as some kind of socialist, some kind of jihadist, some type of anti-American candidate, and they wanted him to be the new face of the Democrats for the upcoming midterms in 2026. But with Donald Trump embracing Mamdani and having nothing but good things to say about him and treating him so well in the White House, he's thrown that whole entire argument under the bus. And then you have Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's resigning in January, who is bashing Donald Trump on social media and on cable networks. The infighting amongst the MAGA crowd, the MAGA Republicans, has started, and it's amping up, and it is getting ready to go. And you had that whole incident with the Epstein files where Mike Johnson was hoping that the Senate would make changes to the bill and then kick it back to the House so that they could delay releasing the files. But instead, it passed with unanimous consent. We can see the rift now within the Republican Party, and it is becoming more apparent every day that a lot of the Republicans no longer back or support Donald Trump. So it's going to be something to watch over the next couple of weeks, next couple of months, and see what happens. But Donald Trump just threw the entire Republican Party under the bus because they can no longer make Mamdani the face of the Democratic Party, and they can no longer paint him as an extremist, as Donald Trump embraced him at the White House. This is Grim with Get the Rant. I'll see you in the next video. Make sure to like, share, and follow for more.
Consumer sentiment fell in November to one of its lowest levels. It fell down to 51. What? Yes, it fell to one of its lowest levels in years. During the pandemic, the worst of the worst, it was at a 50. It is at a 51. It's not good. I can't imagine why consumers are not happy with the economy and the way things are. I mean, just look at things. The wholesale price of turkeys went up 40%, announced several days ago. 40%. The job production by the Trump economy, the first 9 months, and looking at the last 15 years job production of any president during their first 9 months, only one time was worse than this year, and that was during the worst of the pandemic. What? Yes, Donald Trump's job production numbers are the worst other than the pandemic in the last 15 years. What the heck? I thought he was just a great businessman. His tariffs, his economic policies, and his trade deals have only caused things to become more expensive, made it more difficult for Americans. And if he's making America first, I sure would not like to see how it would be if he was trying to actually cause problems in this country. Gives all our money to Argentina, the Argentinian farmers, the Argentinian friend, spends hundreds of millions on his palace, while the rest of us are struggling buying food, getting our benefits, having a government open, affording our health care, can't make ends meet, and we're all stressed out. And Donald Trump is throwing great Gatsby parties. Show me the disconnect. Show me the disconnect. Love to hear from my Democrats and my MAGAs, my crazies, my cuckoos, and my burned out light bulbs. Have you gotten better financially since Donald Trump has been president? Let me know the truth. I sure haven't. I've gone backwards, guys. Prices are, everything's up. Nothing is better financially, unless you're super rich. Then if you're Peter Thiel and those that are worried about their money, I'm going to make a video about him and his money. That's another story. Love to hear from my Democrats, my MAGAs, my crazies, my cuckoos, and my burned out light bulbs. Let me know. Things are better off for you or worse? I can't afford it.
I've been watching the videos of Mamdani and Trump all morning, and I have some thoughts. First of all, I'll preface this with, I like Mamdani. I'm glad he won. But also, let's remember he's a politician, right? Let's hold him accountable. Let's call out his behavior when necessary, right? Remember, they work for us, not the other way around. And I will say the videos are funny, mostly because you see how quickly Trump capitulated to Mamdani, but nobody should be surprised by that. Trump has boners for powerful and charismatic men. He really only has teeth for women, especially women journalists who ask him questions he doesn't like, and his political opponents. And most of the time, even then, he's just like screaming and shouting from True Social. He's not confronting these people face to face, because ultimately he's also a coward. Mostly I'm bothered by the fact that Mamdani participated in this political theater, which is what this is. This whole thing made Trump look borderline normal and funny, right? And like, oh, maybe he's not so bad. Maybe he's not really a fascist. No, he is that bad. He is a fascist. Also, do you think Mamdani really thinks Trump is a fascist, or is that just political theater? These folks serve the same interests, right? Which is the oligarchy. And I will say, like, Mamdani is certainly better than most, but he still does. Some of his big donors, yeah, you may want to look into that. Not to mention how incredibly disappointed I have been already in Mamdani. It started before he was even elected, when he completely backpedaled on the things he said because he bowed down to the Zionist lobby, suddenly changing course on what he said about Israel's right to exist, not to mention keeping the NYPD police commissioner in place, who's a raging Zionist. And then going as far as to say, don't primary Hakeem Jeffries, telling his colleague, Osei, not to primary Hakeem Jeffries. What the fuck? Hakeem Jeffries, who is completely bought by the AIPAC lobby and has just spent how much time making sure that they pass a resolution that what? Condemns socialism. A lot of people are falling for this political theater because it is entertaining, right? What is that quote about? Bread and circuses? Ain't it funny, though, that they're only giving us the circus part and no bread? This is just a reminder that Republicans and Democrats don't actually hate each other. That is all pretend. That is all theater. They serve the same corporate interests. They serve the oligarchy, not you. It's why when we see them meet face to face, this is what happens. They want you to believe that they hate each other and that they're fighting each other for you, when that is the furthest from the truth. In fact, them telling us that is what keeps us complacent. So don't stop fighting, don't stop protesting, take them off the pedestal you've put them on, and remind them that they work for you.
Donald Trump and his supporters, MAGA, they're in self-destruct mode, and it's only going to get worse. Now, starting this morning, actually starting last night after Marjorie Taylor Greene resigned, there have been a number of different things going on in the cult. Friday ended with the world watching Donald Trump and Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani, a Democrat socialist, meeting together in the White House and Donald Trump professing his love in front of the world for this so-called communist. Then there's this picture of supposedly Donald Trump and Bill Clinton, and this is tied to the Epstein files. So, when most of us woke up this morning, what did we wake up to? We woke up to Donald Trump going off on Marjorie Taylor Greene. He basically berates and insults Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie, both Republicans, for not being loyal to him. And then at the end, thanks her for her service. And this is truly dividing the base. Check out what Nick Fuentes has to say.
Trump put Marjorie in the crosshairs and has unleashed a vicious attack on her in the past couple of weeks, calling her a traitor and saying actually that he would go to to her district in Georgia in the midterms and maybe campaign for a potential primary challenger and work to unseat her and take the nomination from her as the incumbent. And that's a major escalation and a major betrayal, considering that Marjorie Greene has been one of Trump's closest friends and staunchest allies in Congress, one of the most conservative members of Congress. And in fairness, the areas where Marjorie has broken with the president, these are areas where the president has broken with the people. Marjorie disagrees with the president on H-1Bs, on bombing Iran, on foreign aid to Israel, and on the Epstein files. These all happen to be MAGA, America First issues. These are America First labor, corruption, and foreign policy issues. And most of these things are things that Trump campaigned on himself. Perhaps not specifically H-1Bs, but Trump did campaign on not starting new wars, on an America First foreign policy, and on releasing the Epstein files. He's not delivering, and these are the areas where Marjorie has disagreed. In response, Trump has totally pulled the rug out from under her and declared an open war on her. Marjorie retaliated against the president. She replied, and she said that because of the statement, she's been getting death threats. She says that people are threatening her, harassing her, doxing her. She's in fear for her life. And Trump has totally dismissed that. Now, the big news came today on Friday that she is resigning. And she talked in her resignation message about this conflict. She talked.
Now, even though Nick said that, in the rest of his video, he goes on to bash Marjorie as well, because at the end of the day, that's what MAGA does. Then Donald Trump makes another post. This one is about his poll numbers. I have just gotten the highest poll numbers of my political career. While my great work on the economy has not yet been fully appreciated, it will be. Things are really rocking. Stopping wars and foreign relations seems to be a strong suit. Also great, the border and stopping crime. That's not true. These are Donald Trump's poll numbers, and look at where it's from. Fox. So he's clearly gaslighting his base. Again, this is a huge problem. Oh yeah, I forgot to bring this up. MAGA is also upset because of this, the way Donald Trump seems happy meeting MBS and Zoran Mamdani. Take a look. Doesn't Trump look real happy? So much for America First, right? And then there's this new thing going on right now. that's really sending the base over the edge. So on X, a feature was enabled and then disabled that allowed you to look at a user's location, when the account was created, where it was created, etc. And this is sending the MAGA base over the cliff. For instance, Caroline Levitt News. Notice anything? Joined in Bulgaria. Connected in Macedonia. Here's another one, Doge Designer. Date joined and location, India. Wow. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Connected via the India App Store. How about this? MAGA Scope. Based out of Nigeria. Here's another one, America First. Bangladesh. Mary Tiles, Texas. Russia. Oh, here's another one. You know, the guy that works at the FBI, Alexis Wilkins, that's his boo. You can look at her account and there's all kinds of questions that came up. Look, especially the date that she started in 2009, and they're subtracting her age, and then they're saying, you've been doing this since you were underage. So that's a brief overview of what's going on today in the MAGA cult. They know the end is near, and they're literally spiraling out of control and turning on one another. They don't know which way is up or down. Their problem really isn't the Democrats. Their problem is there's weakness, there's fraudsters, and all kinds of random characters in the cult that they never knew were there, and now they're starting to realize it's not the Democrats and it's not the immigrants. It's MAGA. Y'all are so gullible.
Happy Saturday. It's a little bit after 11 on the West Coast here. Okay, so yesterday we saw Zoran Mamdani, mayor-elect of New York City, in the Oval Office with Donald Trump. They had a meeting, and Trump just gushing over him after their meeting, and gushing over him in the Oval Office. Kept like touching him. I can't explain any of that. Donald Trump clearly has a great affinity for Zoran Mamdani. I don't know if it's because it's a connection to New York City or what, but the right wing has been freaking out over that meeting in the Oval Office, freaking out over Trump's reaction to Mamdani in the Oval Office. Laura Loomer has gone on her typical Islamophobic rants about all of this. And, so it's nice to see an Islamist communist standing behind the president in the Oval Office, yada, yada. She has called him a jihadist and all kinds of stuff. She wrote, it would be nice to see the administration not give Mamdani a total pass for his support of Islamic terrorism and his incitement of hatred against white people and non-Muslims. We need to see some moral clarity on the issues of anti-white racism and normalization of Islamic supremacy from the GOP. First of all, she's cuckoo pants. But then, Rudy Giuliani said that he was absolutely disgusted to see his successor in the Oval Office standing behind President Trump. Fox News, who said it? Fox News, Charlie Gasparino hammered Donald Trump, saying that the wheels are coming off the Trump presidency. Uniformly, the reaction on the right, they're freaking out. Charlie Gasparino also wrote on Twitter, this just proves that even a clown like Mamdani can impress Trump just by kissing his ass. Pretty pathetic. Mamdani didn't kiss Trump's ass yesterday. It was the other way around. And I still don't know why. But, a huge part of what their plan has been since Mamdani won, a huge part of their plan for the midterms is to tie Democrats to Zoran Mamdani as some evil, malevolent other, the brown guy who's Muslim and who laughed at 9/11 or something. It was going to be the whole defund the police narrative campaign strategy all over again. I mean, Republicans nationwide, it was becoming their campaign strategy, one of their main campaign strategies for the midterms, to tie every Democrat they can to Zoran Mamdani, because according to Fox News, Zoran Mamdani is scary. And when old white people who watch Fox News see Zoran Mamdani, they're going to be afraid. And any other Democrat who is tied to Zoran Mamdani, whether it be personally or whether it be through policies that these other Democrats want to propose, Fox News was just going to be like, communist, Islamist, Sharia law. He's going to impose Sharia law. And they were going to paint every Democratic candidate nationwide with that. And Donald Trump just blew that up. Donald Trump just completely blew that up. Because now, if any of those ads start popping up, the Democratic candidate in whatever race can just make an ad showing footage from the Oval Office yesterday where Donald Trump is gushing over Zoran Mamdani and treating him like his peer, treating him like he's an amazing guy, that he's fun to hang out with. And it's bizarre. It's just bizarre. I don't know. I don't know what happened to Donald Trump yesterday. When you look at and listen to the things that Donald Trump has said about Zoran Mamdani over the last several months, Donald Trump has said horrific things about him. Absolutely horrific things about him. Called him all kinds of names. And then greets him with open arms. Not just greets him with open arms. I mean, look at how he treated Mohammed bin Salman earlier this week. I greeted him with open arms. That sent MAGA into a tizzy. America first. There is no America first. There's Saudi Arabia first. I don't know if this is just Trump's dementia or sundowning or whatever, but the key takeaway is that Donald Trump just destroyed one of the main strategies that Republicans were going to employ for the midterms in elections all across this country. Because he thinks that Zoran Mamdani is amazing. I mean, Elise Stefanik, who's running for governor in New York, falsely accused Mamdani of being a jihadist. And when Trump was asked whether he agrees with Stefanik's allegation, he said, no, I don't, with Mamdani standing right next to him. It's crazy, man. In another post, of course, there was somebody on Twitter that said Trump is playing 4D chess. And and some other folks were just like, no, he's really not. He's really not. That same guy from Fox News, Charlie Gasparino, was like, yeah, those Liberation Day tariffs that he can't undo fast enough were also very 4D chess. We should all be so smart. And if I were, I can see a huge hug fest with the guy seeking to turn New York City into a Marxist paradise. Pathetic. What? It's like part of the problem with some of these Fox News folks and right-wing media folks and elected Republicans is they start to believe their own bullshit. It's like, how is the mayor of New York City, assuming that he even wanted to, how is he going to turn New York City into a Marxist paradise? These people can't even define the word Marxism. It's like they talk about Marxism, communism, socialism, while Donald Trump's administration is taking ownership stakes in tech companies and chip companies across the country. I don't know, is the government now seizing the means of production, picking winners and losers? That's not capitalism. It's one of those other three things, but they don't understand that. They don't. because they don't understand definitions of, words and shit. Anyway, it's going to be fun watching this unfolding freak out on the right because of Trump's absolute love fest with Zoran Mamdani. It's crazy.